In our last project, we upgraded the front brakes on our 1986 Corvette. Today we're going to complete the same work on the rear of the car, but because the rotors and calipers are really similar to the front end, I'll just do my best to highlight any differences or extra info we missed in the last video.
Better, stronger, faster.
To make it easier to remove the rear rotor, our first job is to back off the parking brake drum pads. We'll get a better look at the star wheel I'm adjusting right now, and the drum brake setup once we remove the rotor. Next step, remove the locking bolt from the upper guide pin. I'm just loosely reinserting the bolt into the upper guide pin to hold the caliper in place as I remove the locking bolt from the lower pin. Here's a reverse angle view of removing the locking bolt from the lower guide pin. And then just remove the caliper. One thing I didn't mention while changing out the front brakes was checking the pads for uneven wear. This can be an indicator of problems with the caliper itself. These pads, though, look nice and evenly worn. Next, just a quick check of the caliper for any leaks around the piston. Then I'm going to clean off the caliper with some brake clean, remove any of that brake dust. Just don't want to breathe it in, and really good practice just to get brake dust out of the caliper when we change the pads. Here we need to remove the parking brake cable from the rear of the rotor assembly just to get better access to remove the lower bolt securing the caliper mounting bracket. The driver's side is a mirror image of the passenger side where we were working, but you can clearly see here how the caliper mounting bracket lower bolt is also used to mount the bracket for the parking brake cable. Because it's such a tight fit, I'm also using an 18mm box end wrench instead of a socket to help remove the bolt. And then just remove the caliper mounting bracket upper bolt. Remove the guide pins from the caliper mounting bracket, checking for any corrosion. The grease on the pins looks pretty crusty, indicating it's been a while since these brakes have been serviced. And then give the caliper mounting bracket a thorough cleaning. A blast of pressurized air helps evaporate all the brake clean. So here's a repeat of what we did on the front brakes. Just put the boots onto the caliper guide pins, grease up the pins, and insert them into the caliper mounting bracket. We're spraying in some penetrating oil in hopes it'll help free up the rotor from the hub. Rotating the hub helps the penetrating oil reach all the crevices. With a few blows and a bit of patience, the rotor finally breaks loose. We're going to change out the drum shoes of the parking brake in the next episode. For now, we're just going to give it a good cleaning. Cleaning out the brake dust should help extend the life of any drum brake. It'll also give us a nice flat surface to mount the rotor against the hub, and hopefully reduce the chance of breathing in any brake dust ourselves. Then on goes the new rotor. The rotor package we picked was Powerstop Street Warrior drilled and slotted rotors. I'm just turning the rotor to move the inspection hole back over the star wheel for adjusting the parking brake. Just adding a couple lug nuts to lock the rotor in place. Now the caliper mounting bracket goes back on, just the opposite of how we took it off. Remembering to reattach the parking brake cable bracket with the lower bolt of the caliper mounting bracket. On goes the caliper with a new locking bolt. I'm adding just a thin layer of brake caliper grease to the back of the brake pads just to help prevent squealing. See the inspection window? I wasn't paying attention, and the springs on the brake pads are cattywampus. This is how the springs look after being properly reset, which should prevent the pads from getting hung up or rattling while driving. Just installing the final locking bolt to the upper guide pin, and we're done.